So, welcome back, everyone. This is VexxingCat and
Kitten for cuddles?
excellent. We are back for another installment of our weekly or bi-weekly recap of our D&D sessions on Sunday. We have a couple of different things to talk about today. Great session, some interesting dynamics like Ernst and his shenanigans, and then we did make some changes as far as like we're no longer at sea, we have made it to one of our destinations. So I'm going to throw the blue, east blue map as our background for a minute here. So there's a couple of notable places on this map. We came from kind of around Gaiman's Island and made it across the going in a westerly direction, past that large like uh storm that was raining really hard on the ocean, and we made it to the eastern part of Gecko Island, um, where Syrup Village is currently domiciled. So there was a couple of different things that I noticed while on this trip. Um, we did kind of skip ahead in time a little bit just because we were still at sea for a couple of days. But then there was a little bit of a tension and debate, I'd say, between what everyone wanted to do when we got to the island. I was saying, let's anchor on the eastern shore, let's get the dragon onto the new island, let's, ease our way into the island and Syrup Village and just kind of feel it out. And then some of us were thinking, yep, we're just gonna take this big old boat all the way to the western shore to the big harbor where the docks are, and I was just playing it really safe. What
Hmm.
were your thoughts on that situation?
Yeah, I think that if we had gone directly to the big harbor, there would have been a fight. Like it's too easy to spot and just have everything go wrong. Um, Especially since the bounties were out for our team. Um, which I guess we can talk about a little bit later about the bounties, but I just I would have rather snuck in, kind of ease in, find out if there's anything, any traps, find out if there's another poison village. And then I wanted to get to Ernest's son, or yeah, son, Kuro, and see if he really was the mayor and get some, hey, please protect us kind of thing going on. Or take on these villagers. They didn't do anything wrong.
Completely fair. Let me see here. So, as you can see in this lovely map provided by our DM in our last session, um, we can kind of see. Let me grab the whole map here. Uh, we have quite a bit of map that we can move around and play with. If it'll let me. There we go. So let me grab that. So as you can see, we kind of started, I'd say, somewhere maybe near Orange Village. Um, I don't think we were quite at the island of rare animals, but we did start somewhere further north and east of our current location. And then we went through, session one, session two, um, capturing the three bountied pirates that we were after with the large payout, ka-ching. And then we kind of made our way westerly and then made it over through 4 days of travel. We did have a little 2 day detour, so it'd probably be about 6 days of travel from the island of rare animals all the way over to Gecko Island. So there was here, let me take a picture, grab the picture of Gecko Island. So
But before
mhm.
before we got to Gecko Island, we off Magellan.
Yeah, I didn't want to talk about it, but it's true. We did I don't know. It seems like there's this misconception that Grace is just a homicidal maniac, and um I'm playing her like, if you shoot first, I'm going to end it. That's kind of how my takeaway is. That's what I want to do with my character is that if you start shit, I'll end it, you know? And
Yeah. Ladies don't start fights, but they finish them.
yeah, exactly. It's a coup de grace. It means like you double tap while they're down because you want them to stay down, right? That's the point. It's like, "Oh, I've downed an enemy, tap tap, he's done. I've downed another enemy, tap tap, he's done." But he's been established as an enemy as opposed to a prisoner. Now, it didn't sit right with Grace that we offed Magellan. I knew it was a necessary evil because he was just gonna come after us again anyway, and he
Mhm.
tortured all of those people for who knows how long, poisoning the water supply, killing off the natural wildlife that lived there. It was wild what he was sent to that island to do. So,
Yeah.
it was for the
And he didn't
best.
have any remorse.
No. Even
And
during
you
questioning, he had no remorse.
right. And during, after you guys got your handcuffs back, the sea prism cuffs or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
um, which is could be a very useful item in the future. The only thing that I wish is that we could have done something other than slit his throat, because if he's pulled back up, then it's obviously a murder rather than, oh, something happened and he just drowned.
Yeah. Honestly, if we had just pitched him over the side, his, him being an uh, a fruit user, a devil fruit user, he would have sunk straight to the bottom of the ocean. That's just
Yeah.
super weak. He wouldn't have been able to breathe. He wouldn't have been able to tread water. He would have drowned, especially if we stuck around long enough to make sure that that was the end result. Slitting his throat, tossing him overboard, it will result in kind of the same thing. He's going to sink down to the bottom of the ocean, and a sea king is more than likely going to eat him. We were
Mhm.
some days' distance between us and that storm. We had that electrical interference, the situation with George the snail, and I don't know that I caught the name of the second snail, the one that Flynn was holding on to. Did you?
I don't think we ever asked for it.
Okay.
I
Well,
did miscall George Gary at first, and then people
not
started picking.
Gary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, no. I knew it started with a G. My bad."
Ray piped up super quick. It's like, no, it's not Gary. It's not Gary. We can't have a snail named Gary. It's no SpongeBob references here. So,
Yeah.
but we'll have to make note of that and talk to him next time.
Mhm.
Um, so I will grab here. So this is Gecko Island, and I'm gonna move it around just a tick. So when we came in via the ocean, when we were sailing in, we were coming in this westerly direction to the eastern shore of the island. Now, this is where things got a little bit hectic. People were very, like, wishy washy, I would say, on what they wanted to do. Some people wanted to stay on the boat, some people wanted to scout it out, some people, Grace, wanted to, like, anchor on the eastern shore and, like, figure things out, get the lay of the land. That's kind of how Grace plays, is she is a rogue. She has a reputation. She's, natural born fighter. She wants to go in and she wants to like check things out, but she's gonna play like to her own safety. Like
Mhm.
her own profit and her own safety matter the most. And then taking care of her friends is the second most important thing. So
Right.
I feel like she's a little bit selfish, but she's also very pragmatic. And I I worry that like I'm role playing my character too hard, if that makes any sense. It's like, am I going too over the top with this? I don't know. Um,
Yeah.
but here we've got the island, and as you can see, it's a pretty big island. Eastern shore is where there was just kind of cliffs and beach. There wasn't any populace. I think there might have been like the odd boat down there. Then, if you look in the left hand shore here of Gecko Island, you can see this is this beach here. This one's all rigged out with like a harbor and fishing boats and everything else. And so I believe most of our crew, we went ashore on the eastern shore, and then let's see, Ray, Flynn, and all of the refugees from the previous island that blew up, they all skirted the coast southward and around and over to the western side, and they landed in the harbor. Now,
Right.
at the harbor, there was a flag on a boat that kind of came up, and they're like, that's interesting. So that was this flag here. Hide Gecko Island. So this is the Black Cat pirate flag. This is meta. This is like outside. This is One Piece universe information. But a couple of the characters that we ran into, and I think this is where that history check came into play, is a couple of the characters that are from the Black Cat Pirates are currently living on the island. So it's complicated because like this is where like in my immersion into character is up against my knowledge of One Piece. So it's kind of like do I say anything, do I not say anything? So needless to say, Black Cat Pirates are in the area. We know that from the flag. What that means, who it is, and everything, I'm going to mum's the word on that. But I am pretty excited to see where that's going to go. Now, as far as people of note that we ran into or interacted with, we did have Ernst. I do not have a picture of Ernst. I don't think we pushed out a picture of Ernst, but imagine a very senile old man
Mhm.
that just up and decided to come with us on the dinghy to shore. Oh, I'd
Oh
appreciate
my
that.
god, but he never stops talking,
Oh man,
ever.
he's
It's
just
just
a da
nonstop.
da da
He's
da
the
da.
typical he'll tell you his life story and then some just to keep talking because he likes the sound of his own voice.
I could see that.
Um, can I add a few things for
Ah,
what you were saying before with the ship and dinghy
absolutely.
and everything? So, one, I was worried about splitting the party because splitting the party never goes well. But you can't just leave a whole bunch of strangers, of villagers on the boat and no one to be on the boat. And there was only so much room in that dinghy because the rock dragon was already taking up so much space. So when people were like, yeah, I'll go, yeah, I'll go, I'm like, well, I'm going to have to not go because we're going to run out of space. Um, I don't think we mentioned the snail from the game, like not the snail, but Admiral that you and I rolled checks on and knew who it was, but then we just didn't tell anyone.
Oh, you're talking about Buggy.
Yeah.
So this was the person on the snail, the telesnail. This is who she and I, we both knew who this was with our history check. And we were able to like, oh, we know who Vice Admiral Buggy Clown is. And it's interesting because in this universe, he's working for the Marines as opposed to being a pirate. Because Buggy in the One Piece universe is a warlord of the seed. Well, depending on where you are in the episodes. So no spoilers. He's a top brass,
I only
amazing
watched
pirate.
the live action, so I only know him really from that. Um, Although I watched one episode of the anime, just one. And I was messaging poor Vex while we were playing. I'm like, I need to think of nose jokes, and then I said absolutely nothing during the whole. I failed.
You didn't fail. You didn't fail at all. But yes, Buggy has powers. We, as a history check, knew about what those powers are, like as far as him being noted. We know him. How well we know him, I don't know, but he is a well known name in the East Blue. And he has had I think it's called the chop chop fruit is his devil fruit power, which allows him to separate his body, I think, up into 13 pieces. So, like, hands at the
Oh,
wrist, the elbow, the shoulder, the torso, his head, and then like foot to knee to hip. All of those pieces can separate, and he can use them as like weaponized limbs. It's kind of interesting.
I didn't know there was an actual limit to how many pieces he could go. They didn't really explain that, or I missed it in the live action.
I don't know that they actually parse that out in the live action. I think that is a something he will discuss in future chapters of the live action because I can't foresee any reason why they wouldn't keep filming. It was so good
Mhm.
and so popular, and I think it's enjoyable for those who have watched the anime, and it's enjoyable for those that have read the manga, and it's honestly on its own for somebody with no experience with the universe at all, it's quite good. It's quite good. Let's see. So we had an interaction with Buggy on the boat before we ever made land. Once we had that conversation, used the speed of our boat and the distance between us to get further away. I imagine he might be in pursuit. That storm that was following us is now going southerly, not westernly, so I don't know where they are headed. But we did make landfall on the eastern shore. We did pile into the dinghy. Now, Ray and Flynn were pretty quiet this session, and I think it's because they stayed on the boat. Like they made landfall on the western shore, but they were pretty quiet uh, during this particular session.
Yeah, they were.
So I think so. We made our way inland. We
We
said our
let the
goodbyes.
rock dragon
Yeah,
go.
we said our goodbyes to Tsunomiko. I do think it's going to thrive pretty well here. There were, from the check that you did, there were no other dragons on the island. So he should be,
Mhm.
without issues, especially if our villagers that we rescued know that they need to take care of him. I think that they're still going to be able to work something out where he protects them and then they feed him a bit every day.
Right. And if, shit hits the fan, maybe he will be able to help us if something happens in this village.
Oh wow. Ernst is wild. Okay, Ernst. It looks like Valis is going to update his token too. So, um, I think I had previously. Yes, okay. So we've got. Boo boo boo. Let's see here. So let me hide Gecko Island. I don't know that I had a bigger picture of Gecko Island, but that's okay. So we got onto the island. We took Ernst with us for whatever reason. I'm not entirely sure how we weren't able to convince him to not get on the
But
boat.
why wouldn't we take him? If his nephew or son or whoever is the mayor of this town, which we have to establish if he really is or not, but it seems like it is, based on other people saying the mayor is the same name, that Kuro, then why wouldn't we be like, look, we saved your relative and we are not bad people, so give us some supplies, take these villagers, and let us go.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. I really don't know if Ernst is like related to the mayor or not. I mean, he's so senile. It's maybe he was related to the previous mayor. Hard to
But
say.
he's, well, because, oh, it was his nephew. I just checked my notes. So he told me that his nephew, Kuro, was the mayor of the town. And then
Okay.
someone else in the town had said, our mayor, blah, 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 Kuro. So, I mean, yeah, maybe he's not related. Maybe they didn't have the best relationship. I don't know.
That's true.
But it's still a chance of, hey, we saved your family. So you owe us something.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. So this is Ernst. Very creepy old man. He wandered away as soon as we got to Syrup Village. We had to, like, gently, of course, rein him back in. And then Giuseppe did some wild tinkering with Cappuccino, the robot, and, like, turned him into, like, there was, like, a bike seat for him to sit on, and he could just hold the reins of Cappuccino. And then Ernst is like, "What is this contraption?" And then Giuseppe's like, "Oh, it's a donkey." And he just Ernst is like, "Okay, I'll just accept that for what it is. Sure, I'm so senile, I don't realize." And it was just really funny. Very absurd. But once in town, we spoke to a couple of the local vendors, got some resupplies. I got hardtack for everybody, minus Sudomiko, of course. And then for 3 days for everyone, including the refugees, because in my mind, they're going to need something to hold them over once they integrate into the village. That was Grace's thought process. And because hopefully we'll be able to leave them here because we can't continue to just supply them forever and take them everywhere. They need to, like, start their lives anew and start fishing and start being
Mhm.
normal villagers again. So we have, like, you were able to go to an apothecary, weren't you?
I was. It had an old lady. Whose name I don't have it in front of me right now, but I know I grabbed it earlier. Let me just pull up my other notepad. Oh, notepad plus plus instead of a note. Her name was Virginia. She sounded exactly like I think an old witch in the woods would sound. Um, and she sold me health potions and agreed that if we bought 20 or more, we would get two free. That is very pricey. Um, but I was determined to go ahead and get at least, a few health potions while I was there because we'll probably need them down the road and run out of healing spells. And why not have them? So I got one large for 10,000 berry and then two small for 6,400 berry. So they also have a herbal shop at the dock that someone named Georgina is running who has more potions.
Okay. Maybe next session you'll be able to pop in to take a look at those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were heading that way, and then like I thought I was going the right way, and then my character token got dragged down to the bottom. I'm like, oh, I guess I was wrong. It's like, no, it's down this way. Oh yeah, my bad.
Hmm. So previously in session 11, um, during the sea cow debacle, you and Giuseppe were able to dive deep into the water and go to some wreckage that was of the bottom of the sea. And now there was a couple of different things that you found on that boat. One of which, of course, is this gem that was in the shape of a leaf. Do you have any thoughts or theories on what this thing can do?
I mean, we tested it and it's magic, but I didn't find out more information on it. It was mainly I couldn't drag the square over so that you could label it, but I am hoping that it's something that either helps plants grow or is like talk to plants, kind of as if you would a walkie-talkie. But I'm really not 100% sure what it does.
Hmm. Makes you wonder. I'm kind of curious to see. We'll have to figure out maybe a little bit more in depth the next session. I do hope that we have a little bit of breathing room before, like, more shenanigans ensue. Um, I had thrown some ideas at Valis about maybe doing some, like, interchanging of some rumors. It was a cool concept that I found, that we might be able to integrate because I'd really like to see more interplay between our characters and getting to know each other and maybe better developing our characters as is. Now, in theory, a couple of our teammates, I think, might be changing their builds a little bit. I don't know what that's going
Mhm.
to look like. I know your build is solid, mine is solid. We might need a little bit of scaling so that way our power dynamic fits within the One Piece universe a little. But I don't
Yeah.
imagine that there's going to be too many changes between you and I. I'm not even sure if Giuseppe is going to take any changes.
I'm not
But
really sure.
so that's the magic plant. And now there was a couple interactions so simultaneously because we kind of all split off. Giuseppe with Ernst on Cappuccino, he headed towards the docks, and at that same time, Ray and also Flynn, they were riding with the boat with all the refugees into the docks. So I think they were kind of meeting all there. So Giuseppe, Ray, and Flynn will get to see more of their dynamic next session because they're starting their we bought some things that are going to be in a warehouse that are also on the docks. So that happened. So that while that was happening, and while Isabella was doing the things with the apothecary, now I and Simon, we headed over to the sheriff's office. Now the sheriff was Bucci. And this is what Bucci looks like. So, um, he is the acting sheriff of the town or the village of Syrup Village. So he didn't seem all that strange or suspect until he made the call up to the mayor asking for us to have a meeting with him. Then things got a little bit kind of sus, and when we walked up to the building, it said Marines on the front, but it had all been slashed away and like scratched out. He himself was kind of odd, but not so like off-putting, just a little odd. And we had a conversation with the mayor, and while that was happening, um, there was like just this kind of weird underlying tension. It's hard to explain unless you were there. That there was something suspect going on. And had previously been mentioned that, uh, like, he was the relative of Ernst. So I'm curious to see what that's gonna how that will play out. Like how he's gonna greet his nephew and how that interchange is gonna interact. Um, but as far as the conversation went, it just felt like I kept getting drawn back in. It was very hard to like separate from that conversation with the mayor over the snail phone. And I'm kind of curious to see like what he really wants because he was very insistent that we all go to this like event, this party that's happening later around dusk, like when the sun sets. There's going to be this big shindig that we're all invited to. So we're going to have to like meet up together, grab you, meet up with. So Simon and I will grab you, then we'll head over to the docks and we'll meet with Giuseppe, Ray, and Flynn, and then let you all know about what's going on. So I'm kind of curious to see how that's going to go. Here's a picture of Mayor Kuro. He looks very dapper, by the way. That was pushed out. So I'm kind of curious to see, like, is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? I don't know. Um, Ernst didn't really make mention other than he was related. So it'll be interesting to see how that is going to play out. Now, while we were on the boat, there was mention of Garp and that he had gone rogue. So I'm not sure, like, his bounty arrived, didn't it? On the island? Didn't his bounty arrive via Seagull?
Yeah, that was the last thing that was floating down. I thought it was going to be our bounties, and it ended up being his. And then I was like, oh, carp.
I hope that meme never dies.
Yes.
Um, it's too good. Let's see. So it's interesting to see his bounty is obscene. It's in the billions, right? And that was something that was kind of cool too. Is we had prior money from our bounties, and we were able to convert, like at this session we converted everything to berries. I do think we are a little short because it those three pirates that we got brought in session what, three or session four, the vampire and the other two. I thought we got a larger piece of the pie from those bounties, but I might be misremembering. I'll have to check with the DM at that time. But
Yeah, he just wrote, he did not add the converted conversion for those three.
mhm, it looks like he said he's gonna have to factor it in. So something else that kind of came up was Kobe. Kobe was mentioned. Um, I think one of the I'm not entirely sure how this got pushed out to us. This was on the board, wasn't it? When we got to town, we were looking to see if our
Yeah,
bounties were on the board, and his was there. So thankfully, as of
his
right
was the
now,
highest on there.
sorry,
I thought his was the highest that was on the board,
it
like
is.
the
It
most
well,
expensive.
obviously, until Garp showed up, but yes,
Yeah,
it'd be interesting to like connect with this Kobe pirate guy and find out like what's going on. Because like I think in game we still don't really know what hockey is. Like our characters are kind of unfamiliar with the concept because we're all, small time townspeople from various places and or an interdimensional fey realm as it happens. So it'll be interesting to see if we can maybe learn from Kobe, or if we're gonna get a chance to interact with him, or if he's a down bad evil guy and we have to like capture him and figure out some way to get him turned in. I don't know. We'll see how that plays out. But he was on the board. Garp's bounty's now up and in the billions. So I think we've got our work cut out for us if we want to raise our bounties and make them, you know, take us seriously. Let's see here. We've got covered Mayor Kuro, Ernst, the Black Cat Pirate Flag, Garp, Kobe, Bucci, Gecko Island. I'll just throw that back up there. I like that image. So I don't know where this is headed, and it'll be interesting. I made the same comments last time we did a recap that I really would like to see more RP out of the rest of the members. I think you take it, I take it probably too far. Um, Simon at least got involved a bit this time, but I'd like to see more from Flynn and maybe some more from Ray as well. Giuseppe was getting in there with his funny little quips and his like, we're gonna rebuild Cappuccino into a donkey. Just
right. Yep, yep, yep.
yeah.
Um, I thought it was funny that the three cats stayed on the ship instead of the little dinghy.
Mm-hmm. Because the
That was mentioned a few times. Hmm.
Captain Nibbles is still on the boat. Ray is still on the boat. I think we left the snails behind as well.
We did, yeah,
But Biscuit is
because I
with
wanted
us,
them to be able to get out if they heard anything over the snail radio.
of course.
Um, I just think it would be funny if they interacted with the black cat pirates and this black cat pirates with the cats and just everyone's hissing.
Mm-hmm. All hail Captain Nibbles and
Yep.
his silliness. So right now Biscuit is in miniature form, which is he like the size of a stoat when he's in.
Ferret or so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So like I could wind him around my neck if I needed to, pick him up,
Yeah.
shove him into my shirt and be like, "All right, we got to go."
Exactly.
So, I I have a lot of hope. I like you and I like our dynamic a lot. And,
Yeah.
Grace is taking consideration, what would Isabella do? This is a
I
living
appreciate
creature.
that.
Hmm. Hmm, what would Isabella do? So don't shoot first. Ask questions or
Well, I
like
mean, not shooting first has sometimes helped us, so
it's true. And even having shot first, like yeah, hey, we're sorry, you scared us. Please don't eat us. Has worked out
yeah.
in our favor too. I'm hoping that we can maybe find more information on Cyrus's grandson Nathaniel while we're here. Um, Probably not though. That might be in a future session because he was last seen. Let me grab this here. So he was found last seen over here further east. So we're here in Gecko Island in the middle there, and then his grandson was last seen at Kokoyashi Village over here on the Konomi Islands. So further west of our location. That's probably where we'll head next because we're trying to make our way down to the Grand Line entrance, which is going to be do I have enough of that picture? Nope, that's kind of the end of the East Blue. So down here in the bottom is the calm belt. Huh, they misspelled calm. That is hilarious. So down here in the calm belt, this entrance down by the Polestar Islands near Loketown, which is where his grandson was headed, is the kind of the last entrance and last place to get ready for your boat before you enter the Grand Line entrance. So we'll have to see about getting our boat ready. Once we're there, we'll have to find out about Cyrus's grandson Nathaniel. I'm hoping Ernst and Kuro are like close because I really don't know if we can handle another shakeup right now. Um, we just kind of we just need a minute to rest and like offload the villagers and like maybe figure out what our next steps are, talk to each other, resupply. There's just a lot more stuff I'd like to see happen, I think, in our next session rather than, oh, another fight.
Yeah. And I think we'll probably be chomping at the bit to play for the next session since we're doing it on the 5th,
Yep.
right? Not the
We're
29th.
we're
So it's
skipping the 29th, yep, Halloween weekend. We will not be playing D&D, but moving it out a further week. It's just we are all adults, we have lives, some of us have children, some of us have plans for that weekend, and we will not be playing that Sunday on the 29th. Uh, I think we're going to shoot for the 5th and then the 19th, so before Thanksgiving in November. So we'll still get our two sessions in. But I know
yeah.
you've got stuff going on with like moving into your new house potentially, knocking on wood, and
Yeah. But that's after the 19th, so I'm good.
mhm, that'll
And
be good.
hopefully all my packing and stuff will be done by the end of this month.
Thoughts and prayers, everybody. Make sure that
I
it
know.
goes well,
It's
please.
how good at Tetris am I really, and what can I fit in what boxes?
Hmm. At least some of the stuff you are like getting rid of, throwing away is just aged out or you don't
Yeah.
need it anymore. Or
But it's nice to do the packing. Like a few weeks ago when I started like gathering all my stuff, I found my dispel dice, and I was like, oh, tiny dice. I was looking for
ooh.
those and I couldn't find them.
And now they'll have a nice prominent place in your office when you want to play
Yeah,
D&D.
exactly.
Mm, I like it. Okay. Well, is there anything else that you think we missed after today's recap session or any other
Potatoes. We didn't mention the potatoes. That's one of my favorite things from this
Oh,
session.
I don't think he posted a picture of what those potatoes look like, but yes,
Right.
we had magical potatoes that I think
So we had a few magical things
yeah.
from that chest. We had the magic plant. The vest that we found, the silky vest, was magic. The gem that looks like a leaf that I don't know what it does is magic. And then there's magic potatoes. but I didn't want to use spells or anything to be like detect, exactly what it does. So so I propagated it essentially. I cut it into fourths, planted two, had one to sell, and then the last one, I cut off a little sliver of it, um, so I could take it into town, and that's why I wanted to hit up the apothecary was to see if they could, tell me more about it, while having that third, slightly smaller piece because the french fry piece is cut off of it, find out more about it. And old lady Virginia said, "It's gonna take a while," and I was like, "Oh." But she was doing stuff to it, and then she was like, "Oh, oh," and talking about the colors. I'm like, "Oh, this does not sound good." But the piece that I sold had some severe reactions I was not expecting.
I mean, from what I heard, or what I construed, they hadn't even gotten the raw potato into the fryer yet.
Yeah,
So that's on that guy for just taking
yeah,
up
he's a
raw
menace.
potato. He's a menace. That if it's poisoned, it's because it wasn't properly prepared.
Eh, yeah, you're not supposed to eat raw potatoes, and he ate raw potato. And he got fighty. He was acting like his hands were feeling weird, and then he just went and decked someone, and then he got dragged off by Bucci.
Just wild.
Yeah,
Absolutely wild. I don't know what they were thinking there.
yeah. But I'm wondering if the potato changes if it is fried. Like, what if you fry it and suddenly you have like all the knowledge in the world as snacks, and it's not a fighting trigger. But yeah, that was the only thing that I really thought we missed out on in there. Um, Other than telling about the plant, because that had the dryad leaf plant, and then I googled it while we were in the game, and it says that they grow up to 4 leaves at a time. Um, and they're found in the wild with 1d4 mature leaves. Leaves are fully matured once they have a light green edge along their brim. A creature can eat one of the plant's fully grown leaves as an action, and once it does that, that creature can speak to beasts and plants for 1 minute as if they shared a language. And then once picked, the leaf retains this property for 7 days. So you can harvest them, have, you know, 4 on you at a time every 7 days. Just keep on picking if there's enough and keep using these. And that's super handy to not have to waste a spell slot to speak to beast or plants.
I do really like that it has such a long durational shelf life. I think that's really
Uh-huh.
cool, especially if I mean, on the back of the ship, there's a large swath of area. I know we have some orange trees back there, but I think if we have room for it, there's no reason why we couldn't have like a small plot of just these potatoes and just
Right.
this is the
Which I
one.
wasn't sure your character went and collected nuts like almonds, pecans,
Uh,
walnuts, whatever.
Yeah, it was
To
a
make.
like I grabbed acorns, which we can mill into flour, so we can make oat cakes and other things
Mhm.
with it. Then there was some walnuts that were on the ground as well. That's a great protein source. As far as I know, though, like I think I would just my focus is survival. That means
Right.
hardtack, that means additional food, produce. I know we're preventing scurvy with the oranges, but you get tired of stuff and
Mhm.
you have to have variety in your
Yeah.
diet while you're at sea.
Absolutely. I would like some lime cheese and lemon cheese. But you can I know this is dumb. Fun fact, you can propagate. You can cut trimmings off of trees and merge them together. And there's trees out there that have 20 different types of fruit on them. And you can buy a lemon, lime, orange bush. And I'm like, this is pretty cool. I would overwater it and kill it, but that's pretty cool. And maybe we could do that with our orange trees. I was thinking maybe we could get some of the nuts that you found, bury them in dirt, and then use the druid ability to, grow plants. So that way we can have more trees on the ship.
I like it.
and then have more in turn nuts, berries, whatever, which would also attract different birds, which granted birds are friends, not food, but they could also be food if you're sick of fish.
Okay. Yeah, that's a nice option because we can actually
Because if a boat can hold 64 additional people, it can hold a few trees.
absolutely. Let's see here. Custom color, select color. We're gonna grab. Whoop.
So speaking of nuts, I guess is my filler time. I tried these really good bars that were from this roadside farmer stand thing, and they were called caramel pecan pie bars. And it had like a shortbread bottom and then kind of a pecan pie top, and then caramel, not milk caramel, but like the brown sugar and butter caramel on top. And it was so good. Oh,
Mm,
I think I may be making those for Christmas cookies this year.
those sound pretty phenomenal. I've got a. When I was in Nova Scotia earlier this year, one of the places that I went to, uh, they had this oat fudge bar recipe,
Mhm.
and I tried like 3 or 4 different recipes to get that dialed in, and finally I just caved and called basically the bakery that make them. And it's like, "Hi, I live on the other side of the continent from you. I have no interest in selling these. I have no interest in stealing your recipe or making it my own, but I would really like to have these again as it's going to be some time before I get to come back to Nova Scotia. So, can I get the recipe?" And the little old lady is like, "Well, let me talk to my daughter." And like, then she just emailed it to me. She didn't even bother calling me back. She just emailed it to me, and now I have it. I'm like,
Yep.
"Oh, yes. I'm going to make these for everybody." And they're going to just like, "Oh, wow, these are really good." I'm excited.
Yay.
Yeah, we'll get through November 5th, November 19th, and then we'll have to play it by ear through December because I know um, you've got the house stuff, I've got some stuff going on, and then we
Mhm.
might only get one session in December. I don't know. It kind of depends on what everybody's got scheduled, but I'm looking forward to it. Also, this right here is the leaf that we were talking about earlier, the leaf gem. This is what it looks like. Valis was kind enough to send me a picture of it. And then let me see what else. It's nice having him here to moderate because we can actually kind of look at like update stuff as we need to. Save
Yep.
image and then add this. So this is what the dryad leaf. This is the thing that you had. Da da da. Create
Nice.
image. Grab this.
Maybe we can get the DM into one of these. The third speaker.
Yeah, I know that he talked about getting a PNG tuber made himself, so that would be
Mhm.
really nice to have another person able to join us in these. I mean, maybe there's a point where we all have our characters or live video, and we could all be, in session for these
Mhm.
together.
Yeah.
So this is the dryad leaf. So looks like that.
I would definitely overwater that plant.
Water
It
it and
looks
forget
thirsty
it.
right now.
Mhm. And then this is our hardy root vegetable. Let me get that picture added.
I forgot to mention I was so happy that that potato didn't scream when I cut it.
Yeah,
Like
we
as
knew it
soon
had
as it
eyes.
was magic potatoes, it was like, oh, how can they make this uncomfortable?
Oh, can you
It's
imagine?
Mr. Potato Head, but worse.
Yep, screaming potatoes would be sounds like a very horrible time. I'm not gonna lie.
Hmm.
Here's our lumpy root vegetables, aka
Oh,
the potatoes.
the one in the back does kind of look like a fist.
Yeah, they both look like this. Like, look at the knuckles. Do-do-do-do.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on with that, but that's okay.
yeah.
They did not scream. That's all we care about. That's
Can you imagine if they kept their properties when fried and I could make fries and like just go into a tavern and like toss them onto people's plates and then they eat them and just brawling. And then we go and just sneak away. Like, oh, too bad they ate the
oh
fries.
darn! Everyone's preoccupied. Let's just do 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 do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're captured. No, don't eat my tasty french fries.
Don't eat my knuckle fries. That's what I'm gonna call them. Knuckle fries. Brawler
Yeah.
fries. Yeah, I like it. It'd be funny. There's a lot of RP stuff that I think we can do, and we need
Mhm.
license to do it, and so we gotta kick the boys in gear and get them excited about the shenanigans.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep. Okay. Well, Sunday was a good session. I think don't think it was our best session, but I do think it's another plot point, and now we're opening that chapter and figuring out what all we're gonna encounter and deal with. And I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if Kuro's a good guy or a bad guy. Same with Bucci. How well will the refugees be received? We're setting
Mhm.
them up with a few days worth of rations out of our own pocket. Mind you, I did sell off all of their pickled fish. So um, Heinrich, or what was his name? Henry, is not going to be pleased with me, but I want that shit off the boat.
Yeah,
So
and you can make more.
yeah, absolutely. They'll just have to catch some, make more. Sudamiko is gonna get settled in. We should definitely, as long as things go well in Syrup Village, we should definitely touch bases with him again and make sure he gets
Yeah.
settled in.
Yeah, I want the elders to still keep their bargain of let's bring him stuff and then he protects us kind of thing.
Yeah, it's
Like
a
he
big
should stay
island.
their guardian.
They
Yeah.
could set up pretty easily on the other side of the island where we dropped him off, and then thrive. I think with their own access to a beach and be able to set up boats and even another harbor on the other side of the island, They have options.
Mhm.
So, is there anything else you would like to cover before we wrap it up today?
That's all I got.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to say thank you, everyone that stopped by today. We will be again in session on the 5th of November. It will be our next session for D&D, and that's about 3 hours. And then I have the rest of my Frankenstein novel to finish. And then you've got a couple of gaming streams coming up, don't you?
Maybe. Depends if the games come out or not, but I'm limited as to what I keep around in between now and the move.
Yeah, that's true. What you've got available to you is limited. But if you haven't checked out their stream before, they've got here, let me grab that YouTube link real quick.
And I upload the D&D sessions to YouTube after they're streamed on Twitch, but um, I didn't hit the unmute button on the audio,
Yeah.
so there's a section that was left off at the very beginning of us coming back with that old man being super creepy, like super creepy. Um, and I did have some audio that went on in the background, but my mic was muted during the break. I wasn't sure if people would want that or not instead of just having complete silence and then be right back going in and out. So if you guys want to hear us, I can definitely have that audio going and then you can just kind of hear random talk. Might be about the game, might be about life. I
That's
don't
true.
know. People do different things during the break.
I do know there's a couple of open source pirate audio music things that we can do. Um, we could have those playing during that intermission, and then we just mute it
Yeah.
when session resumes.
Yeah, I think I have some from that Humble Bundle that I bought. I just haven't looked too much into it.
We'll get you set up with I need to I've got Nightbot and I need to plug all your socials into it and it could be like you know, exclamation point kitten, and that way
Yeah.
I could push your content too. It was so easy to set up the Nightbot. When you're situated or you ready want to do that, I'm happy and ready to assist. Anyway, we
Sounds
are
good. Thanks.
almost at a point where we've got the Discord up and running. It's still touch and go. I think we're not quite right there yet. I'm thinking maybe after the move, we'll probably when we'll open things up. Just we have to get through the holidays. So, all right. Today was another great day with Kitten for Cuddles and me, VexxingCat, and we appreciate everyone that stopped by. If you want to check out our most recent D&D session, it is posted on Kitten for Cuddles YouTube. I believe that was scheduled for 9 p.m. today.
So
So
it'll be in about an hour, but there's also the restream on my Twitch.
that's true. So if you want to check out Kitten for Cuddles on their live stream, and on their recap, you can catch that right here on their Twitch. I'll post that in the chat box here. So feel free to stop by and watch the last session. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can message us, whisper us in Twitch, or, make comments on the YouTube. So have a great one, and we appreciate you stopping by.
Thanks for listening.